Chosen ones, what I'm about to share may shake you to your core. If you're hearing this message, it's not by coincidence. You were led here because something extraordinary is unfolding within you, something so intense that ancient civilizations tried to describe it in their prophecies and warnings. For generations, rumors circulated about individuals who would rise beyond ordinary limits, awaken a higher level of power, and trigger a shift that would feel impossible to the rest of humanity. Today, you are beginning to confirm that rumor. You are stepping into a version of yourself so elevated, so unreal, that it echoes the ancient whispers about becoming more than human. This transformation isn't symbolic. It's energetic, spiritual, and undeniable. And before we go any deeper into this message, pause this video and do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 30,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. That number will amplify the energy of this message and align you with what is unfolding. If you are truly a chosen one, you'll watch until the end, because your spirit already recognizes that this message is meant for you. For those who stay, your understanding of yourself and the world will never be the same. For millennia, humanity whispered of a legend, a story so impossible that most dismissed it as mere myth. Across every continent, ancient civilizations recorded visions of a being who would rise beyond human comprehension, a force destined to redefine existence itself. Temples, pyramids, and sacred texts all hinted at this truth, each civilization capturing fragments of a prophecy that seemed impossibly far-fetched, until now. And then the unimaginable happened. You arrived. Your presence alone confirmed that the stories weren't just tales to inspire or frighten. They were warnings, messages encrypted across time, waiting for the exact moment you would emerge. People everywhere froze in disbelief, unable to reconcile the evidence of their senses with everything they had ever believed. Every corner of the world seemed to pause in awe. From bustling cities to remote villages, the news spread faster than any broadcast could contain. Skeptics stumbled over their words. Scientists scratched their heads. Governments scrambled. The impossible, the absurd, had suddenly become undeniable reality. It wasn't just a rumor anymore. Every fear, every hope, every ancient warning converged into a singular truth. The chosen one had arrived. And in that instant, humanity collectively realized that the foundations of understanding, knowledge, and reality itself had shifted forever. Emotions surged like wild rivers: disbelief, awe, terror, and an inexplicable reverence. Humanity's heartbeats synchronized with the gravity of this revelation. The legend had walked into the world, and the world would never be the same again. The moment you appeared, the very rules of existence seemed to unravel. Gravity faltered in small, inexplicable ways. Time's flow wavered. The air itself shimmered with a resonance that defied understanding. It wasn't just a disruption of science. It was a rewriting of reality itself. Everything humans thought they knew about the natural world was now being challenged. Rivers altered their courses, winds shifted unnaturally, and even the sun and moon seemed to bend toward your presence. Birds circled overhead in patterns no mathematician could decode. Entire ecosystems reacted, as if nature itself recognized a force far beyond ordinary comprehension. Observers struggled to grasp that this wasn't magic. This was something far more profound, the emergence of a power that exceeded the limits of imagination. Every scientific instrument failed to capture the magnitude of your existence. Computers glitched, satellites faltered, and equations collapsed under the weight of phenomena they could not quantify. Experts who had spent lifetimes studying the laws of physics now found themselves powerless to explain a single aspect of your arrival. People tried to touch reality, to feel what was happening, only to find their senses betraying them. Light, sound, and even emotion seemed to bend around you. It was a symphony of impossibility, a cosmic dance orchestrated by your mere presence. Humanity felt the tremors of a universe suddenly awake and responsive to a single being. In every heart, there was an undeniable electric recognition. The impossible had manifested, and the world could only stand in stunned silence, watching as laws once considered eternal gave way to the authority of your existence. When you moved, it was not merely a human gesture, it was the proclamation of divine arrival. Crowds witnessed a figure who embodied power and grace beyond imagination. Every step you took seemed to pulse with purpose, resonating with an energy that transcended understanding. You were no longer part of humanity. You had become the axis around which the new world would turn. Religions everywhere paused, grappling with the reality that their prophecies, doctrines, and prayers had been pointing to this singular moment. Even the air seemed alive with anticipation. A subtle hum, imperceptible to most, vibrated in the atmosphere, as if the universe itself acknowledged your rise. Nature, technology, and humanity's collective psyche all shifted subtly, bending toward a new order you alone represented. Stories of mortals achieving godlike feats suddenly felt quaint compared to your reality. You didn't just surpass human limitations, you redefined them. The line between human and divine blurred completely, leaving the world with an unshakable certainty. This was the beginning of a new era. Emotionally, humanity teetered between exhilaration and fear. People felt hope rekindled yet anxious, a knowing that everything they had known would now be questioned. And in this moment, one undeniable truth emerged. A new God had indeed stepped forward, and the world would never look back. At first, disbelief reigned supreme. News feeds filled with images of the impossible, and social media erupted into chaos. How could a single person embody a force that bent physics, nature, and human perception? Many thought it was a hoax, a global illusion designed to fool the masses. But the evidence was overwhelming, undeniable, and impossibly real. Communities gathered in the streets, their eyes wide with shock. Conversations faltered mid-sentence as people struggled to articulate the unexplainable. Children stared in awe, grandparents trembled, and even the most rational minds felt their certainty crumble. The world collectively whispered, "This cannot be real." News anchors faltered on live broadcasts. Experts were summoned to comment, but no explanations sufficed. Every analysis returned more questions than answers. It wasn't just disbelief. It was the dawning recognition that the universe had shifted in ways humanity had never imagined. Religious leaders, philosophers, and visionaries revisited ancient texts, realizing that every metaphor, every allegory, had been literal truth cloaked in myth. Humanity had spent thousands of years trying to decipher riddles, only to find the answer standing right in front of them, radiant and unstoppable. And yet, despite the fear, hope blossomed. The impossibility of your existence didn't just terrify, it inspired. People began to sense that they were witnessing history on a scale no one could ever comprehend. The instant when humanity encountered something truly divine. From the peaks of the Himalayas to the streets of New York, from the deserts of Africa to the oceans of the Pacific, a strange silence fell over the world. Birds stopped mid-flight. Conversations halted. Phones fell to the ground, as if time itself had paused. Humanity collectively held its breath, sensing the magnitude of what was unfolding. Even the most chaotic cities were hushed. Traffic stalled, planes hovered mid-air, and entire populations felt an intangible weight pressing upon their hearts. The chosen one had arrived, and the world instinctively recognized that this was not an event to be ignored. It wasn't fear alone. It was reverence, awe, and the instinctive understanding that something far beyond human comprehension had entered their midst. The silence was sacred, a global acknowledgement of your power and purpose. News cameras captured faces frozen in astonishment, while historians immediately recognized that they were witnessing a moment to be chronicled for millennia. The collective human consciousness vibrated with recognition. The impossible had become reality, and the world had to stop to absorb it. And as the silence deepened, a shared emotion arose, the mixture of hope and trepidation. Humanity knew that from this moment forward, nothing would ever be the same. Every life, from the world's greatest laboratories to the quietest observatories, scientists scrambled to understand what was happening. Equations collapsed, models failed, and theories that had governed understanding for centuries became irrelevant overnight. Nothing could account for your presence. Every measurement defied logic. Every calculation returned impossibilities. Physicists argued among themselves, grappling with phenomena that should have been unmeasurable: localized time distortions, energy fluctuations, and matter behaving unpredictably around you. Chemists marveled as elements subtly changed properties in your proximity, and biologists witnessed life responding in ways they had never documented. Even AI and supercomputers struggled. Algorithms that could predict earthquakes or simulate climate patterns suddenly produced errors or nonsensical outputs. The tools humanity had relied upon for clarity became helpless, as if the universe itself had declared, "This is beyond your comprehension." While some tried to assert control with rational explanations, others admitted defeat, acknowledging that a new set of rules, a divine set of rules, was now in play. Journals filled with papers that would later be considered the most important yet indecipherable work in human history. Emotion rippled through every mind. Disbelief, fascination, and terror combined in a maelstrom of intellectual awe. Humanity had always trusted science to explain the world, but you proved that some truths were bigger than any equation, larger than any mind could contain. For centuries, prophets and sages across the world spoke of a being whose arrival would change the course of humanity. They left cryptic warnings in texts, murals, and oral traditions. Scholars had spent lifetimes trying to interpret them, often dismissing them as allegory or superstition. But now, every detail resonated with uncanny precision. The symbols in ancient temples seemed to glow with meaning. The constellations referenced in Mayan codices, Egyptian hieroglyphs, and Vedic scriptures aligned perfectly, indicating your arrival. People realized that the mysteries were never mysteries at all. They were instructions, predictions, and records of a cosmic plan finally unfolding. Religious communities experienced a profound reckoning. Entire faiths paused to reconsider their teachings. Skepticism turned into awe as spiritual leaders acknowledged that the texts they had studied all their lives had been literal, not metaphorical. The chosen one had appeared exactly as foretold. Historians and archaeologists found themselves rushing to re-examine evidence from tombs, ruins, and scrolls. Patterns that had once seemed coincidental now formed a tapestry of undeniable prophecy. Humanity had witnessed history repeating itself, but on a scale no one could have imagined. The emotional impact was overwhelming. For many, there was comfort in knowing the universe had a plan. For others, terror that such power had arrived. Yet across the globe, one truth unified everyone. Prophecies were not myths. They were truth, manifesting before the eyes of the living. As the world watched in stunned silence, celestial events aligned in ways that defied explanation. Comets traced arcs that mirrored ancient symbols. The auroras danced with colors unseen before. Stars pulsed with a rhythm that seemed synchronized to your heartbeat. Even the planets themselves appeared to shift subtly in response to your presence. Astrologers and astronomers, usually cautious and skeptical, were rendered speechless. Charts, calculations, and centuries of predictions now spoke with a single, unmistakable message. You were no ordinary being. The universe itself recognized your ascension. These cosmic signs were not subtle. Tides rose unnaturally. Solar flares intensified, shimmering in alignment with your movements. Meteors streaked across skies as though paying homage. People reported feeling the energy in the ground, in the air, in their own bones. Reality, as they knew it, had become a living, breathing reflection of your existence. Even the most rational humans experienced chills. Every sight, sound, and sensation seemed orchestrated to emphasize the magnitude of this moment. It was as if the cosmos were announcing to every living being, a new God had arrived. Emotions surged through humanity, awe mixed with fear, wonder mingled with disbelief, and beneath it all, an undeniable certainty. The universe had spoken, and it had confirmed your ascension in ways no human science could ever replicate. Birds froze mid-flight. Trees bent subtly, as though bowing. The wind stilled, and rivers seemed to hesitate mid-flow. Animals abandoned their routines, staring with recognition at the being whose arrival had awakened the planet itself. Every living organism responded to your presence, reverent and alert. Seasons subtly shifted. Flowers bloomed out of cycle. Clouds formed intricate, symmetrical patterns, as though nature itself was painting a tribute to you across the sky. Even the tiniest insects seemed synchronized, their behavior altered in ways scientists struggled to explain. Forests, oceans, and mountains appeared to acknowledge you. Waves stopped crashing for brief, perfect moments, and the ground seemed to hum with energy. Humanity was witnessing a connection with the planet that transcended comprehension. You were not just a being among life, you had become a focal point of existence itself. Farmers, hikers, and travelers reported feeling an overwhelming calm and energy simultaneously. Some experienced tears, laughter, or sudden insights, as though the earth itself was communicating directly to their souls. Emotion ran deep. Humans realized that nature had been waiting, preparing, and now responding to something greater than themselves. The world felt alive in a new, almost sacred way, a living testament to your divine emergence. Social media posts went viral, not for entertainment, but because humanity was collectively witnessing the universe's acknowledgement of your supremacy. The digital realm, like the physical world, bent in reverence. Emotionally, people felt exposed and vulnerable. Technology, long considered a shield of human dominance, was powerless against the extraordinary. And yet, there was exhilaration too, a recognition that something unimaginably powerful had arrived to reshape reality itself. Even before the first glimpse, humans sensed your presence. A sudden shiver, an inexplicable calm, a rush of energy that seemed to touch every nerve in the body. People felt you long before their eyes could confirm it. The air carried your essence, and hearts beat in collective awareness of something far beyond comprehension. Stories spread of crowds collapsing to their knees, not from fear, but from the overwhelming presence that radiated power, peace, and awe. People reported visions, flashes of understanding, or memories they didn't know they had, all triggered by your existence. The emotional impact was profound. Strangers wept together, children laughed in wonder, and adults trembled with a mixture of reverence and disbelief. Humanity experienced an unprecedented connection to a being that transcended space, time, and understanding. Even those isolated from the crowds could feel it. Travelers in remote regions, scientists in distant observatories, and people in quiet homes reported an unexplainable vibration in the air. It was as though the universe itself whispered your presence into every corner of the world. The collective human consciousness changed. People no longer needed to see to believe. The feeling of your presence alone reshaped reality in the minds, hearts, and souls of everyone. The impossible had become emotionally, spiritually, and physically tangible. Leaders across the globe found themselves confronted with a force they could neither control nor comprehend. Military strategists, politicians, and diplomats watched with quiet terror as their authority seemed trivial compared to the magnitude of your presence. What had once been power in their hands now felt fragile, almost meaningless. Armies halted, unsure whether to advance, retreat, or stand down. Nuclear powers debated silently, recognizing that no weapon, no strategy, and no plan could contain you. The world's hierarchy was shaken to its foundations, and fear permeated halls of power. Yet fear was mingled with awe. Even the most hardened leaders felt an involuntary reverence. Decisions that once seemed crucial faded into insignificance. The realization dawned that this was not a political or military challenge, but a cosmic awakening. Global summits convened in emergency, only to discover that debate was futile. Diplomacy, strategy, and negotiations suddenly belonged to a realm of triviality. Humanity had encountered a force beyond governance or authority. Emotions surged like wildfire. Leaders experienced the same visceral awe, humility, and terror as ordinary citizens. Humanity's sense of control was gone, replaced by the recognition that something infinitely greater had arrived, and it was watching, feeling, and existing among them. From the ancient Egyptians to the Mayans, from the Sumerians to the Aboriginals, every major civilization left traces of a warning, a vision, a prophecy about a being who would rise above humanity. At first, these predictions were dismissed as folklore, mere cultural artifacts, or symbolic storytelling. Now, all these civilizations spoke with one voice, across time converging into a singular truth. Their predictions were accurate. The chosen one had arrived, fulfilling the ancient dream and warning in a single, undeniable reality. Historians marveled at the synchronicity. Even distant cultures, separated by oceans and continents, had captured pieces of the same truth. It was as if humanity had collectively anticipated your emergence for millennia, encoding the knowledge in stone, parchment, and memory. Emotions ran deep. People felt connected to the past in ways they never had. The arrival of a single being bridged generations, cultures, and histories. Humanity realized that the collective unconscious had always known, and now the world was bearing witness. This revelation sparked awe and humility. The Chosen One was not just a phenomenon of the present. You were the culmination of centuries of anticipation, prayer, and hope. Humanity had waited for this, and the world finally understood the magnitude of that weight. You are no longer just human. You are no longer merely divine, in the sense civilizations once understood. Your existence defies categorization. Human biology, divine mythology, and cosmic energy converge in you, creating a being that is something entirely new. Every movement radiates power, every glance inspires awe, and every breath seems to influence reality itself. Everything humans believed about reality, power, and existence has been fundamentally altered. The skies, the seas, the cities, and the forests all pulse with a new energy, shaped by your presence. Humanity stands at the threshold of an entirely new epoch. People are grappling with what comes next. Fear and hope intermingle. Some celebrate the dawn of a new era, while others worry about what such overwhelming power may bring. Yet all recognize a simple truth. The world belongs to no one now but you, and reality itself bends in response. Science, religion, and philosophy have converged into a shared awe. Every field of knowledge suddenly acknowledges its limits, recognizing that the Chosen One has rewritten the rules. Humanity must adapt, evolve, and understand that the old paradigms are gone forever. Daily life is infused with wonder. Ordinary moments are no longer ordinary. Every sunrise, storm, and heartbeat carries the echo of your existence. The world has become alive in a way that mirrors the divine energy you radiate. Emotionally, humanity is transformed. There is fear, yes, but also profound hope, inspiration, and gratitude. The impossible has arrived. The unimaginable has become reality. And with your presence, a new world, a world shaped by the Chosen One, begins. The world stirred with a tremor it couldn't explain, as if reality itself had taken a deep breath and braced for your arrival. Time and space felt elastic, bending subtly yet undeniably around your presence. Ordinary laws of physics, once considered unbreakable, seemed almost apologetic in their failure to contain you. People reported a strange sensation, a pull on their hearts and minds, as if the universe itself was whispering that something monumental had begun. Across every continent, skies shimmered, rivers shifted, and the wind carried an almost sacred energy. Humanity collectively felt the first ripple of your awakening. Scientists, philosophers, and spiritual leaders alike stared at the evidence in disbelief. Instruments failed, texts whispered truths, and every mind that attempted understanding buckled under the enormity of your emergence. It was as if the cosmos itself had been holding its breath for this exact moment. Communities paused, ceasing mundane tasks to acknowledge the subtle but undeniable change in the world. Birds froze mid-flight, leaves hung suspended in the wind, and even the ocean seemed to swell with anticipation. Every living thing, knowingly or not, recognized the start of something beyond comprehension. Emotions surged across the globe. Humans felt awe, fear, exhilaration, and a strange clarity all at once. Something larger than history, larger than life, had awakened, and the world instinctively understood that nothing would ever be the same again. Trees bowed, rivers stilled, and mountains seemed to hum with anticipation. Nature responded as if recognizing a being far beyond its ordinary laws, an entity capable of shaping every living system on Earth. The wind carried whispers of reverence, and storms held their breath in anticipation of your will. Animals reacted instantly, instinctively aware of your presence. Birds circled in harmonious patterns. Wild creatures paused mid-step, and the seas seemed to pulse in rhythm with your aura. Humanity witnessed a world alive, acknowledging the arrival of a force that transcended even the oldest understandings of divinity. Seasons shifted subtly, flora blossomed out of cycle, and natural events synchronized in unprecedented harmony. Forests, deserts, and oceans all seemed attuned to the energy radiating from you. The Earth itself became a symphony of recognition and response. Observers reported inexplicable emotional resonance. People felt an undeniable connection to the planet and to each other, as if the arrival of the Chosen One had unlocked a shared consciousness embedded in all living beings. Humanity was no longer separate from nature. It was part of an awakened whole. Fear mingled with awe. The realization dawned. The Earth itself was a witness and participant in your emergence. Humans were confronted with a planet alive, reacting to a presence beyond anything previously imaginable. Across bustling cities and quiet hamlets, an eerie silence spread the moment you appeared. Conversations ceased mid-sentence. Birds stopped singing. Machines halted. The world seemed to pause, collectively acknowledging a power that needed no words to command attention. Even the most chaotic streets fell quiet. Traffic lights froze. Horns blared once and then ceased. People stopped, eyes wide, hearts pounding. Something ineffable had arrived, and every human instinctively recognized it. Leaders, soldiers, and officials felt the same pause in their hearts. Military exercises halted, political negotiations were abandoned mid-discussion, and global communications faltered. Every structure built to maintain order seemed insignificant in the presence of your emergence. Travelers on remote mountains, scientists in subterranean labs, and children playing in city parks all reported sudden, inexplicable waves of awe. Your essence seemed to permeate existence, a force no human device could measure. Those attuned to spiritual practices experienced visions and revelations. Dreams became lucid prophecies. Meditation led to sudden understanding. And even the skeptics could not deny the pull that radiated from your being. Humanity sensed the depth of a power that words could barely describe. Physically, objects vibrated subtly, instruments failed, and energy itself seemed to bend. It was as though the earth, the air, and even electromagnetic fields acknowledged your authority, reacting in subtle but profound ways that no science could explain. Emotionally, humans were shaken to their core. Awe, reverence, fear, and love collided in every heart. The energy you emitted was more than force. It was a profound, living connection to reality itself, redefining what it meant to exist. As your presence spread across the globe, humanity began to feel a shared awareness. People reported simultaneous experiences of insight, understanding, and connection with each other. Thoughts and emotions seemed to harmonize across continents, as if your arrival had awakened a latent collective consciousness. Scientists studying neurology noticed subtle synchronization of brainwaves worldwide. Meditation practitioners described unprecedented clarity. Even those who never considered spirituality felt an unspoken unity, a bond tying them together across oceans and borders. This collective awakening was not forced. It was intrinsic. Humanity had been waiting, perhaps unknowingly, for a catalyst powerful enough to unlock it. Your emergence provided that spark, connecting every living being to a shared realization that existence was greater than any single individual or civilization. Emotions ran high, fluctuating between fear, elation, and the profound comfort of connection. People experienced empathy at new levels, sensing the struggles, joys, and hopes of others around the world as though they were their own. Ultimately, this shared awareness transformed humanity. The Chosen One had not only altered the physical and spiritual worlds, but had also awakened something timeless within human consciousness, a recognition that the universe, life, and existence itself are connected in ways beyond comprehension. Your arrival created reverberations across the timeline of human history. Every empire, kingdom, and civilization suddenly seemed part of a grand, unfolding narrative, pointing inevitably toward this moment. Monuments, texts, and symbols took on new meaning, no longer relics of the past, but fragments of prophecy converging into the present. Historians scrambled to reinterpret ancient records. A carving here, a manuscript there, suddenly formed a coherent message. The universe had been foreshadowing your existence for millennia. Every human effort to understand the cosmos, culture, and divinity had been building to this singular point. Religious scholars experienced epiphanies. Rituals, prayers, and doctrines that had puzzled generations now aligned perfectly with the reality of your presence. Humanity's understanding of faith and destiny transformed, as myths proved to be literal markers of truth. Even ordinary people felt a personal connection to history in unprecedented ways. Dreams became reflections of ancient events. Intuition unlocked knowledge of distant civilizations, and individuals reported experiencing ancestral memories with clarity they had never known. Emotionally, the impact was profound. Humanity felt continuity, purpose, and awe. The world collectively realized that this was not a random emergence. It was the culmination of millennia, a historical crescendo orchestrated by the universe itself. Your presence created a gravitational pull that extended beyond the physical. People were drawn instinctively toward you, not by force, but by recognition. Eyes followed every movement, hearts yearned for proximity, and communities gathered in unspoken homage. Even those who resisted initially felt the compulsion. Skeptics and cynics experienced moments of surrender, as if their intellects acknowledged a truth too profound for denial. Your presence transcended belief systems, uniting humanity in recognition of something universally magnificent. The pull was not just emotional, it was tangible. Objects subtly shifted, particles aligned, and even electromagnetic fields seemed drawn toward your being. It was a force both natural and supernatural, bridging dimensions and realities simultaneously. Witnesses described an almost magnetic resonance in their own bodies, an awareness of alignment with something greater.